Welcome back to another week of County 71 podcast, brought to you by Redonkulous Outdoors. We'd like to thank our awesome sponsors from Field to Art. Check them out on social media and for all your skull needs, and also Redonkulous Rally Sports. Check them out on all social media. Check out some rally swag and follow them for the season. These are both all local County 71 folks. Always remember, support local and keep it donkey style. Now let's get with it.
Yeah. Welcome back for another week of County 71 here. This is Nathaniel. We got Matt, and our guest appearance tonight is Bud Scott. He is indeed from County 71. I grew up with Bud, known him for a long time. Won't say years because I don't know count. But we're going to get this thing rolling.
Dude, you just killed that.
9 out of 10, 100%.
That's not getting edited.
Nope, I think it's perfect the way it is.
All right, Bud, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, anything particular you want to throw in there, who got you into hunting, anything like that.
This is going to be harder than I thought. I grew up in Ross County just like all you guys. I went to Zane Trace just like you guys. My dad got me started hunting when I was like 10, and I started gun hunting and became instantly addicted. And then it wasn't until I was 15, 16 I started bow hunting, and then I quickly gun hunted, was dead, so I strictly became a bow hunter until this year. And I harvested my buck this year with a 357 Legend. So it's the first buck I've killed with a gun in a long, long, long time.
Say 350 Legend.
350 Legend.
Say it.
350 Legend?
Okay.
What'd I say?
You said 357 Legend.
Oh.
But we can cut it out.
I got you. 350. Oh, no, I still did it. 350 Legend.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Beautiful. So, Matt, how do you know Bud?
Man, I guess how I originally know Bud. Bud doesn't remember me. Through Todd fishing at his pond. But recently I met him because of his clone, Matt Colopy.
I heard they spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. Well, when I first went there, I thought Bud was Matt and Matt was Bud, but I got him figured out now.
Glad you got that confusion sorted out.
there's a little bit of height difference, and I don't have red hair, so.
Yeah, I didn't see any difference, but whatever.
He's
some
40, I'm
some
31.
say that. I've heard the.
Yeah. Okay.
I've heard it.
Yeah. But no, I met him in there, when was it? When I brought my buck in?
Yep. It was the night you harvested, or the week after you harvested.
Yeah, when I brought my buck in, and then I came back in there to see his brother's buck.
Yeah, but you didn't come to see my buck, correct?
No. That's when I was dead.
This is the actual first time you've actually held my buck.
And it is an honor, but
Yeah.
it is an honor.
Thank you. It's my best kill by far. My biggest one before this was 164, so.
What did this one officially score?
181 and 3/8.
Nathaniel, how do you know Bud?
As I said before, went to school with him. He was actually my brother's friend, and
I upgraded.
somehow me and Bud managed to find each other. It was love at first touch.
Do koi fish?
No, there was no.
No,
koi
but I
fishing
was
boys.
I was at his koi fish pond. Actually, I got him hooked up with Mark Depew for a little bit when they were on that ploy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Why we gotta call it a ploy? It's not a ploy.
yeah, it was something. Anyways,
Cool with
I would
that.
say, I mean, we're getting a little off here, but what I remember the most about this particular deer is I was sitting in the bow shop one day. It was the funniest thing, and all of a sudden, you just see Bud run out of the shop and barely say anything to any of us. Come to find out, this buck was on camera, and literally, he was in the back working on something. He's taking running hey, I gotta go, can't work the rest of the day, nothing. You'd have thought that his wife was going in labor or something.
She was not pregnant at the time, for one, and for two, I got a video of him walking past my trail camera. So he was up on his feet at 11:30 in the afternoon. The time before that, I was hunting, and he chased a doe by me, and the doe actually ended up getting hit by a car. I witnessed it out of the deer stand, so I was a little bit nervous and haven't had him for a couple weeks. So as soon as I got that video of him, I got the heck out of there and went straight to the deer stand and hunted until dark. I didn't see him. So I did have 6 different encounters with this buck throughout the season. I was actually trying to kill a bigger deer than this from opening day till like October 10th. This deer didn't show up till the 15th, I believe. So I was actually targeting, AKA his brother, as some would say. And then this deer showed up and pushed the other deer that was actually bigger inches wise, but not body. So once this deer showed up, he became my quickly number 1, and I hunted him all the way until gun season when I finally harvested him. So
October is when he showed up.
October
so
15th,
almost all season.
Yeah,
Hunted him.
Yep. But I didn't have any velvet of him. I do not recollect this deer from any of my past seasons. He's kind of like a bonus buck. So
you're saying the deer you had on camera last year probably isn't him?
No, I would say it
Debatable.
was the brother.
Debatable.
Some would argue. Some definitely would argue. But I mean, they both have similar features.
Very similar.
I'll DNA the shed from last year. It's
I don't
fine.
have the shed from last year.
We know who does.
Oh, okay. No, but like
Kidding.
I seen him bow hunting 3 times. I took my son out youth weekend, and he actually came into like 110 yards. And my son said, "Can you shoot him?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. Like, you're not shooting your 181-inch deer for your second buck." So that didn't happen.
So you knew his exact inch size before you shot him?
No, I didn't. I actually said that this deer went 160 inches. Like, I actually
Even after he shot it.
Yeah, even after I shot it. Like,
He does.
he
goes every bit of 160 inches.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely made 160. So I mean, wasn't lying there. Just 21 inches bigger than that. So.
Just for a second, I don't recall when he first shot this deer the tines being so shiny. I believe that's from rubbing him every single day.
Oh, I everybody was giving me crap because I literally carried this deer with me for 3 weeks, trying to let Matt see the deer, but he was too good to see it until today.
No, he was literally showing everybody he could.
Matt was dead.
There was homeless guys walking down the street, and Bud's like, "Hey, you ever seen a deer before? Want to check mine out?"
They're like, "No," and he's like, "Well, come here."
Yeah, exactly.
But you always hear that a deer, on camera doesn't do it justice, but to see this deer in person is pretty impressive. It probably has the tallest G2 I've ever seen on a buck. What is it, 15?
15 and a half inches.
15 and a half inch G2.
Officially. So
it's a cool deer.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Hammer.
I actually witnessed this deer. I actually threw rocks at this deer on Monday of gun season. So that was interesting. He was actually bedded beside the road and had traffic backed up, and he was going to get poached. So I actually threw rocks at him to get him to go back further in the woods, not bed right up against the road. So that was a cool story. So
David and Goliath.
Made lots of memories with him, and then was lucky enough to get a shot during gun season.
When you were going to poach him, was that before gun season?
No. If I could have, I definitely could have poached this deer multiple times. Once during youth season with my son, and then that time that I seen him from the road. So he was definitely a highly visible deer.
So you're saying you wouldn't shoot it out of the mobile blind?
No, I would not shoot out of the mobile blind. He was actually standing.
We're glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I was actually, the story behind that was the day I killed him, I was actually hunting out of my saddle, and I watched him cross a field, and I knew there was no way he was going to get to me before legal shooting light was over. So I actually climbed down out of my saddle, fell like the last 4 steps, twisted my ankle. That was fun. And then ran this ditch line I had, and then got to the cornfield he was in and snuck up to the edge of the field and shot him. But he was actually like 40 yards in front of my blind. That I was actually taking a friend's father hunting the night before. So it was kind of cool.
You know how you could have not twisted your ankle?
If I would have paid attention to what I was doing?
Not hunting a saddle.
Yeah, well, the saddle
Yeah,
had nothing to do with it. It was sticks.
So if you would have shot the gun in the saddle, would you have spun around the tree?
No, I would have propped it up against the tree.
But the main question is when you're hunting out of saddle, what kind of underwear are you wearing? Because me and Matt asked about this earlier, and we just figured that you'd be wearing a G-string in the saddle.
We already both know that your choice is Victoria's Secret, but what we need to know for our bet is what cut and style are they?
They are Hanes boxer briefs.
G-strings. I knew it.
I believe they
It's
were
a
black.
G-string. Absolutely.
Does black make it sexier?
What's he doing?
I don't know, but I
It
wasn't going to
keeps creeping
talk, so that
forward.
way he couldn't. That way they could edit that part out because it's a little bit awkward.
Let's
And,
just say my mic wants to keep moving itself.
I I guess, kind of became buddies with Bud about as fast as I did with Cody. And I remember him texting me trying to kill this deer on Messenger, and I believe wasn't there a night that you was in there and this deer came in and bedded down in front of you?
No, that was the brother.
The brother?
The brother.
And kept you in there for like...
Yep. Yep. Kept me in there for like 35, 40 minutes afterwards. So that was interesting.
Hey, what if I wore bibs, no shirt, and got in a saddle? Would I get views?
I feel like the saddle hunting is something you really should try.
Yeah. Mm.
Are you never going to try it?
I know.
She ain't moving.
It's not happening.
I feel like
Because I'm...
Back in the saddle again.
the clamp was too big.
Back in the saddle again. I was spinning and whirling and started hurling. I'm back in the
I
saddle.
can't hear. He won't shut up. I'm a Neanderthal.
Yeah, go
He
back.
says he's too big for
Okay,
that.
let's go back.
I'm obese.
Mention how in the first episode you talked about how you thought you were too, because you said it. You were like, I'm way too big for a saddle. So going back into it, ask Bud about that. This would be a good.
I'm not hunting a saddle.
But you were definitely not too big for a saddle. Like,
No,
100%.
I don't necessarily think I'm too big. I think I'm too manly for a saddle.
I don't think it's more manly if you willingly try something that you're not normally try.
He's got a valid point.
Like Victoria's Secret underwear.
I mean, if it kills big deer, I will pretty much try anything.
Just a swinging.
Oh, back
too
in
right
the
up.
saddle again. Back in the saddle again.
What is your favorite way to hunt, Matt? Blind, typically.
At dark.
After light.
Artificial
My
light.
favorite way. Like if I could choose one.
If you could choose one method, blind, tree stand, lock on, ladder.
On the ground with nothing.
Really? I mean, that's a very effective way. Now, did you use a compound this year or were you cross?
Crossbow.
Crossbow.
I killed him off the ground. No blind. I like to be able to move.
No, I get it.
When I hunted,
it's a very effective
stand,
way.
I guess a stand is probably my favorite choice, but I feel like I kind of strap myself down and I won't move. Like I've seen deer and I'm like, man, if I was 40 yards over, I could kill him tomorrow. And I won't do it because I don't want to move the stand. So when I'm
That's
on the
where a
ground-
saddle would definitely benefit you because it's literally easy as crap to move the saddle. Like, you can be as versatile mobile as you possibly want to be. Like, it takes me 10 minutes to move a saddle setup. And I can do it without soaking wet.
He becomes the bear.
I literally pick up my blind and I'll walk with it. Like literal mobile blind.
I don't think that's an effective way to kill a mature deer.
Now, if it's going to be like windy, cold, rainy, I'll take a blind over anything.
I strictly blind hunt.
I have actually used all methods. I like your method. I actually killed this buck using your method.
Yeah.
Because I was not in the position where I needed to be. But with a compound bow, I think it's a lot harder to do that method with.
Yeah.
Like,
No, and still to this day, if I hunt in a stand, I'll take a compound. If I'm on the ground with no blind, I'll take my crossbow.
No,
And, you know.
100%. There's definitely, I mean, I used my son's crossbow this year 100%. If I couldn't get in the specific spot that I feel like I needed to be, I will take my son's crossbow.
Yeah, I'll hunt with both for sure.
Yep.
Say it again.
Say it again.
What kind of weapon do you think you should use?
Any legal form of killing a big buck that gives you a slight advantage, it's already hard enough. If you can get away with a crossbow or a compound, or if it's gun season, I was one of those stubborn guys that thought that if you kill it with a gun, it's not as good as kill, and this year proved me wrong. Like I always said, I would not kill a buck unless it was a booner with a gun, but I thought this deer was not a booner, and I still shot it with a gun. And I'm just as happy with my gun kill as I would be if it was a bow.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
if I could pick the preferred method to kill this deer, it would have been out of my saddle with a compound, and I had my opportunity, and it just didn't work out. He was on a hot doe, and he didn't stop in the opening, so...
Yeah, I feel the same. Preference, I'd rather kill one with a bow. But
Yeah.
if it comes gun season, he ain't killed, I promise you he's in trouble. Because
Well-
I'm going to shoot him with a gun.
My problem is that I hunt a lot of small tracts, so I don't have like big tracts of land where I know he's going to daylight 6-7 times a year. Like, I'm lucky if I get 2 or 3 opportunities, so I'm going to maximize my opportunities in any way, shape, or form possible that's legal.
I know the feeling. I hunt 5 acres with a house in the middle of it.
And it can be some of the best 5 acres depending
Yeah.
on the day. Like, you don't need these large tracts of lands, and I actually think that, like, you have a higher opportunity if you had 10 parcels of 15 acres than one tract of 150.
Yeah, I would take that.
I would take 10 15-acre tracts over a 150-acre strip of woods any day.
And the larger parcels that I have are 95% field. Like, I have a ditch on 200 acres. That's it.
That ditch is probably fire come rut, though.
When did you first see your buck? This buck.
The first time I seen that buck would have been on hoof, would have been like November 1st, I think is the first day I actually seen him on hoof. He was he came up out of a thicket in the bottom and was scent checking the field for does. I only got like 10-15 second clip of him, like visual, like identified it was him. Then I started preparing for the shot because he was actually coming towards me, so I took my eyes off him. By the time I got everything set up, he was already gone. So he ended up finding a doe and pushed her down in the thicket, and that was the end of that story. But I think November 1st was the first or second was the first day I seen him, put my eyes on him, and I was not disappointed. That 15-inch G2 out in the sunlight, that's magic.
Me? Oh, okay. You guys tagging me back in? Oh, hey, wonderful. I loved hearing about that. Let's go into a little bit detail on something else. 1 second here. Let me look at the cue cards.
I was like, we have cue cards for a reason.
What if you could go on one hunt, pick anywhere you want to go, where would it be?
New Zealand red stag, for sure, 100%.
I like that. A little bit out of the element, like we're not stuck in whitetail land over here. You want to go over New Zealand and put the schwack down on it.
What's yours?
Honestly, I'd love to go for stone sheep, but that's probably never going to happen unless they put me up there with a helicopter. So, literally, like, a couple 100 yards from the sheep, and then I'll stock up on it.
Since you didn't ask me, I'll answer.
Well, Matt, I was getting there.
I'm hunting whitetails in Canada.
Saskatchewan, now we're talking.
Man, I can't.
Them big burly freaking deer, now we're talking for sure.
Nothing's ever trumped whitetails for me, ever. I mean, I would go hunt other things, but yeah, Saskatchewan. Big chocolate horn whitetail, that's what I'm hunting.
I love to hear that, Matt.
My second would definitely be anything velvet. For sure.
I can definitely see you up there wearing like one of those hats with the like little fur flipped up.
Saying A.
What you would know. But yeah, I'd take a picture of it and put it on my wall. So, but who would you like to see us invite onto the podcast one day? Just name a couple. We're just looking for throw people out there, maybe names we haven't thought of. We have a list, and it is big. And every day, a few guys get crossed off of it, and they're like, nah, they're not coming on. And then sometimes we're like, we'll bring them back on. Bill Schwinke will be our last guest appearance. We love Bill.
We've already used our number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, Bud was our number 1. We mutually agreed. There was no other name brought up that would have been first.
Well, I know you were concerned about my loudness and my ability to overtalk people, so I'm glad that I'm not living up to the hype.
Yeah, we're very proud of you for dubbing it down and letting us talk with you. It's not.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a great opportunity.
Not often we get to be on the same level where you're not speaking over us.
What's your favorite part of the season to hunt?
Opening week, 100%. I've killed more of my big deer opening week. Get them on bait or field or get them to come into food. That opening week, I think it is the best. If you get the cold front hitting right opening week, I think you have the highest likelihood of killing mature deer than any time of the season, period.
I know somebody who will agree 100% with that. I like it too if I have a deer. I don't ever have deer early season. This year I did, and it was one of the easiest deer I've ever had to pattern when he was there. I just never have that opportunity. Like I have them in velvet, they're going. But I love opening season if I have a deer. that's fairly regular, he's in trouble.
I would argue the fact that that is also the hardest time to kill other than late season. Like, if you went hardest skill level to kill a big buck, it goes early season would be the hardest, or late season would be the hardest, and early season would be a close second. Like, if anything changes that first week, they're not coming in. Period.
And I feel like you're always on an hourglass early season. Like, usually deer early season, a lot of them will shift or move, you know. You never know when that day comes that deer is just gone. If you don't bump him or not, just gone.
Yeah. The pressure early season is definitely as high as it can possibly be to try to get it done as quickly as possible. So you risk gambling. I'm one of those people that try to be uber aggressive, and sometimes it does bite me in the butt. Like, you know, you get a little bit closer. If I move 50 yards, is it going to put me inside of a zone? Like, just push the envelope every time, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, I mean, but if you don't try, you'll never know. So,
yeah, I agree completely with that, and I'm not scared to go.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a chance of pushing a deer out than never see him because I won't give it a try. That's just my thought on it.
Push him right over to me, Matt, since you took the lease next to me.
Yeah.
But I have killed 3 deer wearing shorts. Early season.
Have you?
Yeah, I have.
I would like to wear shorts because I hate that. I hate the most about early season is that it's hot and freaking bugs.
Yeah.
Other than that, I love
bugs
it.
are awful. Madison said the bugs up in Maryland are awful because she went up there early season. It's bad.
Yeah, it would drive me nuts.
You should go with her this year.
To Maryland?
Yep, seek a deer hunting.
Oh, yeah.
You all 4 could go and I could man the fort down here.
Do you hunt them in the swamps?
Yep.
I talked to a guy on vacation about that, and they hunt whitetail. Was it Maryland? But then he was talking about hunting them in the swamps, he called them.
what's your favorite experience or favorite hunt early season?
Oh, my favorite early season hunt. Probably the one I killed. I can't remember if it's 18, but it was about a 5.5-year-old 8-point, and it was the year Kimber was born, so it was 2017. Kimber was born September 29th, and I killed the deer on October 5th. So needless to say, I probably shouldn't have been hunting, and I definitely got scolded for it, but this deer had been coming in every evening, and Dad's like, you need to go up there and kill that deer. You need to get up there and kill that deer. And so I literally didn't tell anybody, and I closed the bow shop down early, and that was before I even owned it. So I didn't tell anybody. I just left at like 5:30.
You mean you didn't have me to cover it?
I didn't have Bud to cover it. He's covered me for me before, so I can go kill a deer. And like early season, if you got to go, you got to go. There's no, I'll get him this weekend. Nope.
Yeah.
That might be the last night. I left the bow shop 5:30, 5:45. Was in the blind right after. I literally took apple cracker with me, and that's something we'd been feeding early season. I threw it all over me. Didn't have time to shower. Literally, I did. I just freaking wiped it all over me. Got in the blind. 25 minutes later, deer dead. And dude, it was hot. It was freaking hot. I killed him. Had a Cam-X, a white snow camo one that year, and that was the year that Cam-X sponsored me. And it was a super fun hunt. I think it was just like, it's so quick though. You know what I mean? Like, I literally left the bow shop and within 45 minutes had a buck dead on the ground. It literally took me longer to get home than to get him killed.
I think that's awesome about early season too. When you have a buck coming in at that time, you can almost bank on him coming in at that time. You don't have to go in and sit for 6 hours. Like,
Right.
I would go in this year, and Shane's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I got to get in there at noon." He's like, "No, you don't. The deer's not coming in till 6:55."
Right. And
I
now
would roll in hour before, and I kill him.
I do that a lot of times. I think it works a lot better because you don't get as much scent in the area. But also, one thing I do, since I don't have tons of time to hunt, is like I killed him on the backside of our pond. So the whole strategic to getting through the blind literally was, there could be deer almost on the feed, and you could slip up in there because we literally took all the leaves out, and we popped up from the pond up into the blind. You know what I mean? So like literally when you're coming up into the blind, nothing can see you.
Hid from the levee until you get into the blind.
Yeah. So
I've
at
set
any
blinds
point,
up like that on creeks before, come up out of the creek and into the back of the blind.
and I think that's something people need to do that's more useful is, you know, getting a good way into their stuff without disturbing deer. You know, I know where they bed, you know, where they're coming down from. Like, generally, I mean, deer will literally bed wherever they want to. At the end of the day, they, you know, if they want to lay down, they're going to lay down.
That was kind of my next question for everybody, too, is that is my pet peeve to hunting, is entry and exit. What do you think is the most important thing that you have to have in every hunt? Mine's entry and exit.
Oh,
period.
absolutely. You know, because you get in there and you're, like, especially if you're hunting on feed, you know, you're going to get stuck in there. You're not going to kill your target buck every time. You're going to get stuck. And there's times where, especially early season, if there's a buck coming in at a specific time, you know, give or take, if it's early on and, you know what I mean, like, he hasn't showed, there's been times where I'm like, you know what, let's get out of here before I, you know, do some disaster. Because even if he does come in the next 20 minutes, it's getting dark. It's not, you know what I mean, like, where he's going to be coming from, it's not as easy of a script as you might say. So a lot of times I get out there super quick.
Yeah, that was another thing this year when I killed my deer. Usually after it's dark, I wait too long. Like, I'll sit there for hours sometimes. And how this was set up to kill that deer. Like, the moment shooting light was over, I rolled out. And I rolled out one time. I was riding my bike in for my van. That's how I killed that deer. But I was slipping up a ditch to get into there. And by the time I got out the ditch was probably 200 yards. The deer was in there 7 minutes after shooting light. If I would have waited, I know 100%. I probably had to be 1 to 2 minutes from blowing him out of the field anyways, because he had to cross beans that were 150 yards wide. And he was in there like 7 minutes when I stood up and walked out and got to the road. The deer was there at my camera.
Yeah, let's be honest. You're a big dude. Like, it's me. I can slip out of stuff easy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm short. You got a lot to hide.
I'm like a cat.
There's no way.
You're like Garfield,
Garfield is a cat.
but not a normal cat.
Okay.
Did you kill your deer over corn or a
It was
cornfield?
not.
Or?
It was actually a cut cornfield. It was actually not on bait. He was actually out there trying to find another buck and trying to breed a doe, which I thought was rare that time of year. Like, most of the breeding I seen was, you know, typical November 15th, 13th through the 15th, 18th. You know, typical. But to see two big mature deer out there fighting was really the only reason I killed my deer. Because now there was bait in the cornfield. Like, I did throw corn actually in the field, but I feel like that's a way better way to bait than just throwing it in like the middle of the woods. I feel like I would love to find corn cobs, like the whole husk.
Yeah, me too.
If I could find a place to do that and always have a cornfield, a cut cornfield to bait in, I feel like your odds to kill a big mature buck, because they know, you know what I mean? A big mature buck knows a big corn pile in the middle of the woods is not natural.
I think it's rare to get them on it in daylight a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have them hammered at night, but to get them on daylight. And I've had deer that will hammer at daylight. But
No, I mean,
a
it
lot
definitely
won't.
happens.
It's took me a while, but I've got them convinced that it's a corn tree. You know, you put the corn pile in the same spot every year, and they're like, oh, that's a corn tree. Just like acorns, they're like, oh. So they'll come feed in there.
Yeah, but wasn't he a 2-year-old?
It was a shooter. It was a confirmed shooter. I heard the story.
Spotter.
The spotter said it was a shooter.
That was a different buck, thank you. You guys, you know, I'm not sure why I invited you to the show. Matt, this was all my idea to do the podcast. Yeah, I should have never bought you a mic.
Don't you have a shirt that says it was a shooter?
Yeah, it was a great time. I wouldn't change it. At the time, I was a little upset, but, you know, probably one of my favorite hunts.
Like throwing chairs upset?
No, it wasn't like that. It was just...
He can't throw his trauma chair. It's his favorite, okay?
Hey,
Hashtag trauma chair.
Dude, I'm telling you, I can sit in this chair for hours and it doesn't hurt near as bad as all them other ones.
Okay,
Bud, will you kill a buck over bait?
Yeah, 100%. I will use any effective method to kill a deer.
See, this drives me nuts about people that bash people in different ways they hunt, so I wanted to ask that because it drives me nuts. I don't care if you hunt with a crossbow over bait. It's legal in Ohio. It's like saying I'm not going to take an automobile and drive it to town.
We separate ourselves as hunters into these little niche groups like crossbow hunters and compound hunters and guys that wear Sitka and guys that saddle hunt. But when it comes to the end of the day, like, we all need to band together because we are not the enemy. The enemy is trying to take the hunting away from us. That's exactly
what me and Matt started this podcast for. Because, like, there's all these dudes from Ross County killing hammers, and, you know, I get to hear everybody's story. You know, like everybody,
like a clicky thing.
Yeah, but like,
groups.
You know, like, there's guys that they all come in and they don't even know the other dude, and they, like, you know, they're like, I don't know how I feel about that dude, you know, and, like, and nobody, like, instead of being like a nice solid foundation, everybody's separated and we're all after the same things. And I think if you keep getting us all together, you'll find out that we can get along and we're all pretty much the same, you know, and we'd like to get that going because there's just a lot of separation throughout the whole county.
Yeah, we're literally driven by the same passion and we hate each other and don't even know each other. Just because of things you hear about somebody or you get some thought in your head.
Yeah, especially like Matt McGee. Like, literally, spot I hunt, he told me he was going to get me on the lease. And the dude messaged him back, and he's like, nah, never mind. So, you know, like, I'm upset with Matt about it, but I'm not going to not break bread with him anymore.
He already signed me up for
Bud's
that lease. I gave him the money already.
I know that's not true because...
I already gave him the cash.
Yeah.
Big Papa already went over there and I got it back.
It's me,
all right?
It's me, him, and Bill Swinky.
Listen.
But back to your topic. The thing that drives me nuts with the hunting community is thinking that you own a whitetail. Like, some of the biggest fights I see is people thinking that they own this wild deer. Like, this is my deer. And I do it too. You know, I name deer. We all do it. You know, I didn't really name this deer. He kind of showed up late season or mid season, so
time.
I didn't have a name for this deer. It got nicknamed. I don't remember what the nickname was.
I think we should call him Spork.
Triton, wasn't it? Triton.
Yeah,
it was nicknamed Triton because of the 3 tines on the end of it.
No, that's a Spork.
Okay,
We're calling him Spork.
So
I told Spork.
Sporky. Okay, go ahead.
But no, like, owning the deer. Like, people get mad when their neighbor kills a deer instead of congratulating them. Like, they get mad because they think they took the opportunity away from them, which in reality all they did was, you know, took their own opportunity. And people are really selfish. And we need to stay together because if they separate us, they're going to tear us apart.
You get upset when somebody else kills that deer, but you don't know. They could have put in more time than you on that deer. They could have had more history with that deer. It's a deer.
No, and I think everybody gets caught up in the whole my deer, your deer. Like, even myself, I've caught myself going, you know what? I really shouldn't get mad because that dude put in just as much work as I did. It just happened to walk in front of him and not me that day. Like, killing these big bucks, I think we can all agree there is some luck involved in it. Like, you can do all the prep work, you can do all the food plots, you can put corn out, you can run cell cameras, but at the end of the day, you have to be in the right spot at the right time. But there does take a little bit of luck for him to get on his feet early, or that doe to bring him across that field by your stand. There's always some element, or we push in there on the wind that we probably shouldn't. Is he going to smell me before he gets there, or is he going to give me that 5 to 10 seconds to make the shot? So I think we need to be more congratulative. How would you say that?
Congratulatory?
Ecstatic.
Yeah, just share the experience.
Stoked.
Stoked. Yeah, be more stoked for the other person.
But I think it's also okay to be kind of upset that somebody else kills that deer. Not saying you're mad or jealous, but you're upset because you had passion for that animal. You put time in for that animal. That's okay.
Money,
you know?
lots of money.
I race rally cars. If I don't win, I'm upset, but I'm happy to see that other team win. They put in just as much or more than I did.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's okay to be passionate and hurt when something doesn't go your way. But
If I ever lose the passion, I'm done hunting. Like if I ever quit getting stoked when a big deer, when your phone goes off and you get that text message or that picture sent to you where you know you have a chance at a big deer, like we all of our hearts start racing and going through the scenarios in our head. Like when I'm in the stand, my brain is just sitting there. Okay, what am I going to do if he steps out here? What am I going to do? Okay, I really hope this doe doesn't get downwind of me and start blowing because I really think I have a good opportunity today. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, and deer hunting is expensive. Like, I don't even care if you don't bait anymore. Deer hunting's expensive.
any hobby is expensive if you're passionate and go all in to do it.
Yep.
Anything.
Well, just make sure when you guys are buying stuff, Buckeye Archery Supply.
Yeah.
I know that Matt, you sometimes cheat on me, but it's time to
Hashtag Buckeye Archery Supply.
yeah, Buckeye Archery Supply.
And I haven't cheated on you. I had them cameras before I even knew you.
Dude,
You
you have
Keep it
never bought
Keep
a
it up.
Tacticam from me.
Keep it
They're
up.
on sale right now.
And 3 million people see you get the brakes beat off you in this shed.
Dude, you ain't man enough.
Okay, I got to take a pee break, so y'all fist fight this. I got to pee.
Dude.
No idea.
Every time I
I've
walk,
never had to get
the
down
shit.
for hunting. to
Turkey
shit.
hunting. I stopped at McDonald's one time.
I've shit in the
Well,
woods,
I'll
but
tell
I
you
could have
on the
survived.
podcast.
Have you ever had any scary things happen? Because I can horned owl attacked me in a tree one time.
Okay, we need to be recording
And
this.
it's scary.
Everything right now.
Yeah.
Oh, are we
She's not-
recording?
recording
Sorry,
26
that was my fault. Okay,
Hold on.
continue.
craziest thing you ever had while you're hunting.
So the funniest part of this is my buddy Ben.
Hey, wait, you gotta start when they say start.
Yeah, and wait till my camera gets over on you.
Ready?
For TikTok.
You're TikToking the owl?
I'm
Yeah.
getting ready.
Yes, she's gonna make TikToks for you. Just shut
Okay.
up and do what she tells
okay.
you.
Ready?
She's good at it.
All right, guys, back from a break. We had to take a little breather there.
I had to pee.
Yeah, Bud had to pee. Matt, what would be the craziest experience you've had while hunting?
So my buddy Ben had an owl. He told me I attacked him one time, and I laughed at him. And weeks later, I was hunting, and a mother effing owl attacked me in the tree stand, and it would fly like inches from my face and then take off. And it scared me so bad that I got down until it started to get daylight. But he said the owl hit him in the chest, same tree stand, and the owl swooped at my face like 30 times, and I was like, I'm out.
Do you think it was the same owl, or do you think it was a different owl?
I think it was the same owl, and I think that owl was possessive and devilish.
Devilish owl. But he sounds like he didn't like Ben Buckwater more than you, because he hit Ben.
He hit Ben.
He was scared of you.
But he didn't.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
scared.
yeah,
he was
he didn't
intimidated.
like me, yeah.
I mean, you're a manly man. Ben's really not.
Like he would have killed Cody.
Yeah, oh yeah, he would have carried him away for sure. He would have definitely carried away Cody. Like,
Chody would have been dead.
I disagree, but anyways,
he would have been owl bait.
what kind of cameras have you been running this year, bud?
I didn't tell you my scariest story.
I don't care about yours.
Well, I'm just saying, like, he got an opportunity. You should get an opportunity. We all should get an opportunity on stories.
I would totally revoke it if I had the chance, knowing how you guys talk about me.
I'm literally recording.
She's-
Shut up.
Who's the one done?
I can't hear or see it.
You can't see it.
All right, let's ask the question, Cody. You've got like 15 seconds. Then I'll pan over this way and don't start talking until I'm panned over.
Okay. 10-4.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little about the gear you guys use this year. We'll start with trail cameras. Do you guys have a specific brand that you guys were using this year?
Tacticam, for sure. Oh, sorry. Tacticam, for sure. I used to use Spartan trail cameras, but the data plan on them was a little expensive, and Tacticam is definitely more cost-effective, and I think just as high quality.
Did she say Pan or Pam? I use Tacticam as well. The only cell cams I use are Tacticam. The rest are all SD cams.
But you did not buy said cams from the bow shop, correct?
No, they were high.
That's awesome. So I'll be honest. I used 3 different brands this year, and I still don't know which I like the most. But I used Spartans. It's hard to complain about them. Do have a few things that I could address on another time. Tacticam, and I used Blackgate. I was happy with all of them. They all have their flaws.
Can you re-say that again? Over here decided to do a really loud burp right over what you were saying, and there's no way to edit that out.
Okay,
Cut.
so
Go ahead.
this year I used 3 different ones, which was very costly since I had a total of 27 cameras out.
Were one of them Spartan?
Spartan, Tacticam, and Blackgate. They all have pros and cons. Can hands over there one more time. I swear to God, I will throw you both out of the shed.
Me?
I'm trying to get you really
I was like, what did I do?
quality TikToks, okay?
Yeah, and all I see over there is like,
It was funny.
Me?
It was funny. I'm mad at him, but I thought about it and it was funny.
Oh, my stomach's gonna be
Really
hurting
funny
before
later when
morning.
it's
you can record them too now.
What was the question?
What is our battery like?
Was it Pan or Pam?
Pam.
Pam.
Pan the camera over.
Has she ever? She's never seen that movie either?
No, she's never seen Step Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
I stopped watching it with the drum scene.
Well, you didn't see.
So if you reference before that, I'll know.
Is it Pan?
Pam or Pam?
Oh my
Silent M.
So what kind of camo do you guys wear?
I actually catch a lot of flack for this, but I actually wear a Sitka. A lot of people say it's overpriced, but with the lifetime warranty and the quality of the gear, I'm willing to pay a little bit extra for the quality.
Zero Sitka for me.
What
I'm a
do you
cheapo.
use?
I'm a tightwad.
Walmart camo?
Whatever.
He doesn't even wear camo.
I think the newest camo I have is Huntsworth. And like you were saying earlier, this is to bring the community together. And I'll join with anybody except for saddle hunters and Sitka wearers. Anybody else,
Hey.
I'm good with. I'm open.
Dude, you
It
might as well
works.
leave because that's literally
The whole shed.
the whole shed.
The whole
Except
set.
for me.
Yeah. You're holding
No,
the Walmart camo down. Like, you got it.
I don't have any Sitka camo at all.
That's okay, buddy. I'll take care of you. You just know, on your birthday, you're getting some Sitka.
Do they make it extra tall?
I was more concerned about extra wide.
I like the size beefy.
Beefy is a size.
Yeah, beefy.
Cody's beefy short and he's beefy tall. So
You're all top, no bottom. What? Another question? I was still on the he's all top, no bottom. I thought that was
Cody, what do you wear
hilarious.
for Sitka camo?
What do I wear?
What do you wear for gear?
I wear Sitka. Normally, since I kill early season, I'm normally still wearing my tan Sitka pants. But this year I was wearing some, I think, Izoid shorts and some Converse dress shoes.
Have you ever used any Sitka to use the bathroom with?
We're going to save this for another podcast story, but one time I did allegedly wipe my ass with some Sitka gloves.
Do we refer to them as Shitka gloves after that?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
Okay, just to clarify for the group here, I don't know if Matt's ever heard this story.
It's got nothing on any other toilet paper. So soft on your ass cheeks.
Sitka is even superior at ass wiping.
Dude, it's literally the best.
What kind of bow you shoot?
I shoot a 10-point siege. It's a crossbow, which I have no shame in. I've went over that before. I have some neck injury, and if it wasn't for crossbows, I would be out of the game.
Bud?
This year I'm actually switching to a Hoyt Venom Pro 33.
They buck like a donkey.
Yep.
Do you have it now?
No,
No.
I'm actually in the process of building it. Me and Cody are actually building it.
Limbs just came in yesterday.
Sweet.
Custom made.
Can't hide money.
Well, it's because I'm so short, you know. I gotta have custom limbs that have a little dibble in the bottom. That
Yeah.
way, when I draw my bow, it doesn't hit the ground.
Thanks for asking me, guys. I shoot an elite.
It's definitely your job to ask him questions. You're the host. You need to ask the questions. I don't feel
Listen.
appropriate
This'll be
asking
great.
the question.
TikTok. Go ahead. 3,
All
2,
it
1, go.
takes.
Quit grabbing the mic because I can hear it. You're not a DJ.
So, Matt, what bow do you shoot, or brand, or do you shoot a bow?
Elite is my bow of choice. What is the new bow I have? Elite what?
A Remedy, I believe.
Nope. What's before it?
An Encore.
Encore. Elite Encore. I shoot
Oh my
Elite
God.
Encore, and I shoot a crossbow as well. I have a
KMX 330.
KMX 330 from years ago that when I'm on the ground and being mobile, I'll shoot it. So I shoot both.
I like it.
I did just get my son the new 10-point Turbo S.
Turbo S1.
S1.
For the money, probably the best crossbow in the market by far.
For the record, he's 9 and he can actually cock it himself and decock it. So, like, it makes him feel like a big
So like
kid.
a string cock or is it
No,
a
it's
cocker?
got the
No, it's
like
got a
the
crank.
crank, but it's got the clutch. Like a lot of the bows, like the new Ravens, they don't have a clutch in them. So if you let go of that handle,
It'll unspool.
Actually, Cody broke his finger one time.
Both of my thumbs.
Yep, both of his thumbs trying to decock a Raven one time, showing a customer. He bled all over the shop. I had to follow him around with a rag, and he kept running around in like a V8 circle, and he was bleeding all over the shop. And I was trying to like clean it up. Then he went out the shop, and I had to try to put the bow back together. So that was interesting. So
Yeah, but I did kill a buck 2 days later with,
because his best friend actually went and closed the shop for him, so
Yeah.
he could kill said buck.
While my other friend hooked me up with the deer.
That
Yeah.
boy's tougher than woodpecker lips.
It was a 8-year-old buck, wasn't it? Confirmed.
9.5.
He's
9.5.
Yeah.
But anyways, beautiful evening out.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great story, and Jaron, he had plenty of history with that buck, and you definitely did it justice by giving him a nice, clean, ethical kill. So it was a great ending to a cool story.
Absolutely, that was the one and only deer I've got killed on film.
And it was out of Ed's blind, correct?
Yeah, it was a very special hunt to me. We'll probably revisit it one day on the show and probably invite Jaron on here and relive the moment. It's definitely one of my most special hunts. So,
For many reasons.
yeah, I mean, many reasons, emotional hunt for me. So, definitely be a story to be told on that one.
For sure. I think that's one thing that people forget the most is it's not all about inches of rack. It's more about the story than, not always about the story, because antler rack definitely affects, your memory. But we as hunters get caught up on rack size instead of making memories. And I think we should take a step back and go back to the old ways if we're happy we shoot it.
It is always about the story, bud. I'll take the story over inches every day. Not saying I'm not going to chase big deer, but if there's no story, the kill means nothing to me. Just to kill a deer.
No, if that buck was a bonus buck and I had zero history with him, I mean, it wouldn't have meant as much to me as it does now. Like me and my son seen it. That was cool. It was the first big buck, real big buck he's actually seen on the hoof while hunting with me. He was shaking like a cat shitting razor blades. He was more nervous than I was, actually. So, if you can believe that, because we were sitting on the ground and we had that 10-point Turbo S1, and it was definitely a memory that will be locked in the memory bank for a while for him and both I.
That's why I hunt, for memories and a story.
Well, I can tell you this much from already doing this is our first one with somebody. I'm definitely looking forward to getting more guys on here and be able to relive the story from them and hear more what guys have to say. I think that's something we're definitely lacking around here, and I'm excited to see some of the deer that are going to come through here.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Bud even said that, because that was kind of the purpose of the podcast, to tell the stories, for everybody to hear it. I mean, it's one thing just to see a picture of a giant buck on Facebook, but the story is, I don't know. I don't have any deer I've ever killed that doesn't have a story to tell. Ever. Little deer, big deer, all of them have a story.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the little deer have the best stories. And some of the big ones.
Yeah.
Getting history with the deer and making memories, and I don't know if y'all shed hunt much, but I love finding deer sheds and just building just the history with the deer and learning as much as humanly possible in the off season. Like, I cannot wait for the next couple weeks when I start shed hunting. Like, I'm going to put a lot of miles on my boots.
I like shed hunting. I wouldn't say as well as hunting, but I like it a lot. But I don't usually have a lot of history with deer. I hunt 5 acres, I don't. Most deer I've killed, a couple deer I've had history with, but most of them I didn't have history with them until that year. But I think that's the difference in hunting larger parcels and small parcels. It doesn't hold deer,
No, absolutely. And I mean, I think that's too where I run a lot of cameras. I do get a lot of history because I throw them literally everywhere. So there are times where I'll have cameras literally 80 yards apart from each other and never have the same deer on them. You know, and I think that's just a huge thing of having more cameras is you learn a lot more deer.
Yeah, it's crazy how close cameras can be and see a complete different herd of deer.
No, absolutely. And so, well, I think this was a really good evening and an awesome podcast. I don't know if there's any other super important things we wanted to ask, but we've been rambling on here for a while, so we probably should cut her off and save some, because we do plan on inviting Bud back on. He's got 3 or 4 other bucks, and we'd like to see him on all of them, and that's something that we're planning on doing is having people back multiple times and about different bucks, so hopefully they keep harvesting them so we can keep inviting them.
Yeah, and even if they're not, if somebody wants to come back and talk about a deer that isn't a giant deer, just to tell the story, it's anything local, talk about it, hang it up.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to see all of them, and I think that's the great thing is we'll never run out of content because there's countless guys out there to show, and they all have more than one. So we'll definitely be having, guys back on quite a few times, as long as we can keep up with the editing skills.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see these editing skills.
And we don't get kicked off.
But, as always, keep it donkey.
Style.
You're supposed to do the...
Yeah.
As always, keep it...
Donkey. Thanks for coming on, Bud. Being our first person to see how bad we screw this up, and hopefully we get to do this a bunch more.
Well, I'm glad to be your test subject, and thanks for having me.
And congrats on a donkey.
1 second. Who would you like to call out in the next few podcasts?
But before you call them out, you have to make a donkey sound.
I don't know how to make a donkey sound.
Like this.
Yeah, that was terrible. I'm glad I could be your entertainment.
No, that's perfect.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad I could be your entertainment.
Yeah, you want to call anybody out? You want us to put anybody on here?
Yeah, Caitlin Armstrong. She killed a good buck this year.
Huh.
Anybody else?
Next.
Is there anybody else?
Brad Garrett.
Absolutely. Really, though, anybody else?
You're going to have to put Brad Garrett on the opposite side of the cabin, though, because if you put Brad and Matt on the same side, it's going to tip. I'm just saying, like, it's going to tip. If you put these two big guys on the same side of this cabin, it's going to tip. Foundation blocks are going to be coming loose.
Well, we will take all those recommendations into heart. Throw them out the window. But we'll consider them. Brad's probably the most likely candidate.
He killed a hammer this year, double drop tine. I think it went 167-inch deer, so it was a heck of a deer. I actually hung the stand for him, so he had lots of history with the deer, and the deer actually died in front of a fellow hunter that was hunting said deer, and she was really cool about it, so that was a cool story. I'm
That
sure
is
he'd be.
cool, and I can also honestly say that you've done nothing for me. But it's nice that you hung Brad's stand.
You never asked me to hang your stand, and you won't hunt out of a saddle.
You said hung a stand.
Yeah, but I did hang a stand.
Was he in a saddle?
No, he was in a stand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then don't make fun of me for being in a stand.
I'm thinking, Bud, when you do come back, when Brad comes, we might as well have Bud on the show as well if we can get the mics working.
Yeah.
That way, because Bud and Brad are super tight.
He's a good dude. He's killed a lot of big deer.
I've actually.
We're actually having a scoring event at his place on February 18th.
That would have been a great time to have a podcast.
We can definitely do the podcast February 18th at the deer camp.
I've actually known Brad for a long
Declined.
time. He knocked my buddy's tooth out playing basketball when I was younger.
He's a big dude, so
He
it'd be
hit
easy.
Brad in the back of the head, knocked his tooth out, or broke it in half.
I got you. No, but I'm going to get this officially scored. I mean, it's officially scored in our, the buck club that we're in But it's going to get officially Buckmaster scored on the 18th, so I'm excited to see what will actually go.
At least 140.
We'll definitely make sure we film that, and we'll try to incorporate that if we're not finished with it by then.
Yeah.
But-
We'll be back.
Well, that's going to be a wrap for this episode of County 71. And if you aren't familiar with County 71, it is Ross County. There's quite a few guys that live here, and they're like, I did not know that was the county's number.
Well,
So
technically, Brad's from Hocking County, so I don't know if you're allowed to.
Well, I live in Pickaway County.
So I got you.
We actually talked about that, and we couldn't figure out something because I was Pickaway and he was Ross, and we wanted to do something like that. And finally, I was like, screw it. I came from Ross County. Let's just
Yeah,
do
I mean,
this, and
he's
we'll do
from
surrounding areas.
yeah, we're the surrounding area, but I mean, the core of our guys are going to be, they're going to hunt a little bit of all of it. Well, I think that concludes this week's episode.
Peace, love, and chicken grease. I'm out.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, bud. Wipe your mouth at the end.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
You guys are weird.